4, 3, 2, 1. That's her one-handed countdown. Hi everybody, welcome to the Natural One.
She's pulling a train whistle?
No, she's saying
yeah, the party train, like woo.
Well, obviously you can tell that the start of this is not necessarily the start, but this is our first episode fully back. Not just our prologue that we filmed right after all of the other stuff that we had filmed back in November. But we're hoping that the new year is starting off well for you and for us. Who knows?
Yeah, we have no idea. We might be dead.
Yeah,
We could be dead by this point.
promise? So the heat death finally got us. We're very excited to start this session. God. We're a little on today. Last week we showed you our prologue. You've been able to see where everybody's been and kind of what they've done with this like sort of extended time period away. And from this episode, we will be continuing our story. This is coming back into it, and I'm very happy you're here. We're excited to have you here, and for the rest of book 2, however long that takes. And I don't know. There's nothing else kind of just to do but to do it. I mean,
let's do the
I hope you enjoyed our new art, our new stuff, and I'm sure it looks great because I'm working on it right now.
I hope I don't have to cut that part out.
I said new stuff. I said new stuff. It's new stuff.
Yeah.
It could be anything.
And new art will have been shown in the prologue.
Don't say that. Just say
correct.
new stuff. Just, it could be anything. It could be anything. We got a blanket.
I might have a new cat.
That's not
new stuff. Is just a sock puppet show that I do before every episode. We have no idea yet. We'll discover that next week. But before you've seen this, we haven't gotten there yet.
I want it now.
Time travel's weird, y'all.
That's our intro. Is just you with sock puppets.
That's
awesome.
Philip's animatic.
Awesome.
Yo, that could be
honestly that could be pretty great. We could make. I don't know if we. Anyway, that is great. We could do it. I know. Somebody.
Are you saying we might not have socks?
No. I just know somebody who can make us actual puppets. So, like felt puppets.
Like make an actual Philip Muppet?
Yes.
That'd be great, but for Philip's thing specifically playing it, we should talk about all this later.
Yes, we can talk about it later. We're about to play a game.
I think.
What is a Jane? I don't know her. It's been too long. I don't remember.
Jeff.
We open tonight on a fantastical mansion, gently moving through the wasteland that is the Maledicted Wastes. A sort of barren, encrusted mesa full of sort of dried cracks and sand dunes. Moving through, and it's sort of a calm mid to late spring evening. Inside the mansion, we have Sitlali and Liam and our friend Nameless. You guys have all kind of come back from your collective activities and moods of the day, and there's just this moment of, this is sort of just a simple, nice evening. You are eating dinner together, and no matter what has been happening lately, there is just kind of this innate nagging feeling of like, this is nice. This is kind of nice to do this again. And at that, you hear the door open and close, and kind of clunky boots and sort of jingling metal, and the unmistakably loud Philip Fratterfuller.
I was certain it was Santa.
I thought it was Krampus.
In the middle of
in
the summer.
chainmail? Like Santa's just like rocking around and
Jingle bells. You said jingling metal. Clomping boots, jingling metal. This was Santa Claus. I'm sorry.
Must be Santa.
As he comes into the dining room,
He puts down his sack of toys.
all the illusion's gone. It's fine. I'm kidding. He kind of removes this like heavy cloak, and it's like kind of been in his arm in a bustle anyway, and he kind of sets it to the side. At this moment, Philip, as you walk into the kitchen, as you walk into the dining room, the kitchen area, you're all kind of struck with this feeling of, while it was nice just to have dinner, it's also the first time now that Philip's arrived. They've all been here. In his some 3 or 4 weeks, about 30 days. These have all kind of been preoccupied with your stuff, and the sort of normal surface layer conversation of, are you doing good? Hi, good to see you, is over. And there's this familiarity of being with each other again. As well as the awkwardness of having been without each other. And that's where I'd like to open tonight.
I don't suppose there's any left over.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna
Who are
ask.
you? And what have you done with Philip?
It's a long story. Something I think is better told over a meal. Also, I'm very hungry. I think that's tainting my my take on the situation.
There are a heaping pile of sort of goodies. Yeah, it's more of a It's more of a kind of buffet style kind of thing. Ark has kind of been busy doing some stuff, and seems like as people have arrived, he realized that more and more people are coming.
Oh. I mean, I'm going to town. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have food.
Yeah, so, I guess the main thing is I'm just kind of letting myself speak naturally now, if that makes sense.
No.
Alright, well, so I learned very early on that, you know, it's just sort of easier to get by if people think you're stupid. So I just sort of leaned into it, I suppose.
So you lied?
Well, I think it's less that I lied and more that I kept going along with the lie that I'd been told for a long time.
So you lied.
never said a dishonest word. At least not to you. It's a whole thing with, there is a lot of reckoning to do with myself, I suppose, is the best way to put it. But I think the most important things to know is you don't have to pretend I'm a gnome anymore, I suppose. Unless we think it'd be a convenient thing to tell somebody for some reason. But on a general, for my sake, you don't have to worry about that.
2 questions. Is this something so I had one question and then I said the gnome thing. Is that something you discovered recently, or is that something you've known for a while?
I've always had a very strong will. I think it was something I learned a long time ago. I wasn't supposed to. Nobody told me, but it's. I made a choice a long time ago to be one way, and that wasn't working anymore.
I don't understand. You knew you weren't a gnome, but you told us you were a gnome, and then anytime someone brought up you being a gnome, you said you were a gnome. Did you know you weren't a gnome? I was fine until I saw Chris's face.
I was just impressed. I think the unfortunate truth is it's possible to convince yourself of. It's possible to convince yourself of something false if you need to believe it badly enough.
Alright. Okay. One question left. I understand playing something up for effect in regards to like the voice, that sort of thing. How much of the person we know is a lie is the main thing, I think. Because I found your other voice very charming, but I like this voice as well, Philip.
It's gotten a mixed response.
That's entirely fair. It doesn't play with some focus groups as well as others.
Yeah.
No, it's. I can't stop thinking about the telescope.
Oh, make no mistake, I am not a very intelligent person. That has not changed. I'm just sort of. I don't need to hold on to that delusion anymore. It's really the root of all of it. Everything I've told you is true. I just had to accept that I wasn't being honest with myself. Or at least that I was too ashamed of what being honest with myself meant, I suppose.
Well, I'm happy you feel comfortable enough to tell us and be yourself. I'm sorry it took so long, and I'm sorry if I was if I had any part in you feeling like you had to continue hiding yourself, but I'm very happy you're back, and I'm very happy that you told us.
No, I appreciate it. None of you had anything to do with that. It starts as a kid, you get the ball rolling, and it just becomes harder and harder to stop it after a while. I would be lying if I said I'd be lying if I said I wasn't worried about what my first conversation with everyone who's known me would be like after this. And there's a part of me that feels like it would be easier to, you know, not change, not grow, but
At this point, it would be a lie. Yeah.
so.
Ah.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask. I mean, we are all here for the first time in a while. I know. Is anyone else planning on heading out again soon, or are we gonna go storm some marshes shortly? I hate to be the re-meeting my old friend, but also we might go die very shortly, so I might not get to know who you're becoming. But that's kind of what I'm being right now.
I've done what I needed to do for now, and Kalent no longer has that as leverage over me. So, I think I'm ready to go when everyone else is. I'm also here to support anything any of you might be trying to do before the time comes.
Alright, murder swamp, murder swamp. Murder swamp, murder swamp.
How it has been a while. Is everybody else been okay? Everybody seems to be in one piece at least.
Fine.
You do know.
Are people not in one piece? Is somebody missing an arm? I don't know what's happening.
Piece.
Yeah, I was gonna say you notice the the copper is no longer on his eye. It is now platinum.
Alright, well.
It would be the biggest visual change.
Is that a good or a bad thing? Just like pointing
it's-
just like pointing right at it.
Oh, it's very good.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, I usually go in for the big secret reveal, but if you guys want to know, I could just tell you.
If it's that thing
The
that
whole-
makes, if it's gonna make me like instantly fall asleep, I'm okay with us not having a demonstration at the moment.
It probably wouldn't do that.
Oh.
I invented a spell all on my own, well, with the help of a god. It's a new eye. I can use it more. It's better, mostly. It can do a lot of things. It can have a lot of effects. Mostly what it does is, so I call it the Hammer Fist Shuffle. That's not the name it's filed under. It's filed under Liam's Energy Transfer. But basically, I can drain energy from people, and I can take it for myself. Or how that affects people is fairly sporadic, but it's usually interesting.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't have a demonstration of that right now.
Yeah, probably not.
Which god?
That was out of character. that was Tyler. Tyler helped me make the spell.
Oh, I thought you literally were saying it. Okay.
No, I literally made a whole brand new spell, Miles, and Tyler helped me.
Because if like Liam got
my
into the
favorite
gods during that
unnamed
time.
god. Yes, that one. I know that one well.
No.
Yes.
It's a trickster god.
You have to watch out for those. Nameless, how was your trip?
Fine. Yours?
Pretty boring. So the marshes. I'm fine to go. However, I will not go farther than outside of the tower.
So you won't go into the tower.
Correct.
Okay.
I thought you wanted to kill Glenn.
Why?
Because if this person means so much to Philip, but Philip means more to me, then I have to do what's best for everyone around me. And if killing Kalenth is going to make Philip upset with me, and me upset with myself, then I'm not going to do it. Plus, I don't trust myself to not try it if I go in. So, I am here to support the three of you through the marshes. And if you need me for whatever reason, and there is a way to get in, then I will do it, but hopefully I do not have to go farther than outside. But I do have a question, Philip, for you. When you talked to Kalenth, did they mention about what god or goddess, because you said something about them getting the power from the lodestones, and did you say something about a god? I can't remember.
Well, he has a boon from the Raven Queen.
Do you know what that is specifically?
No. The only thing that's known is that he has one. It's not clear what their boon is.
Okay. Well, I mean, as Nameless told us, that might be something very important we might want to find out.
Yeah, my instinct is just rush in and hope everything works out. Cause that all sounds messy. I don't know how I don't do the god thing very much. And like the little contact we've had with the Raven Queen was vague and wishy-washy. Sounds like we've got some vague wishy-washiness from Kalenth.
Yeah. Well, the unfortunate thing is, once a boon is given, it can't be taken away by the god that gave it. So, it would have to be removed by other means.
Right, but if he still had this boon, why would he feel betrayed? Unless the boon wasn't what he expected, or the Raven Queen did something else outside of that.
The Raven Queen left their brother to die, more or less. That's the long and short of it. This was after the boon had been given.
We don't really have any ideas on how to deal with that boon, huh?
I could try a ritual or something, and maybe ask. I don't want to ask for help on it. I know words aren't my strength, so maybe if I just need to find a way to ask the Raven Queen what we're trying to ask without asking it wrong.
Right.
That's me asking for help.
Let's just make sure we're as specific with the question as possible, I think. Mentioned that it's Kalenth's boon specifically. It would be very unfortunate if, for some reason, we were told about a different one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you want me to just ask what exactly?
I don't know. I keep thinking like, how do we sever Kalenth's boon, or like, what do we need to sever Kalenth's boon? But that could give us like non-specific answers that are true, but not what we need. How do we? Can we?
What is Kalenth's boon is the other problem. We don't know. But
It's
I don't.
true.
But even if we did know, then we don't know how to destroy it.
But at least then we know what it is. I know that a boon exists because the Raven Queen told us. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little in my head about it, but I also... part of me is worried. that were being played by the Raven Queen, but I guess, I don't know.
I think the only thing we can do is ask and get the information that we can, but then we just have to move forward at a certain point, I think.
Okay. So I'm gonna go, do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't really have to be anywhere specific, but I feel like I just want to go to the Expanse because it's where I know to go.
Sure.
So I would go there. I wouldn't maybe necessarily. I would probably still do the vibing just to do it, so that it's maybe a little bit stronger of a connection.
Okay.
Do I have to roll for anything
she-
for that? Forget.
Vibe to get advantage on.
Yeah,
information.
it'll be a wisdom check.
Okay.
Also, look at your phone. But as she gets up and steps away from the table, and she like leaves through the door. There's a unified moment from the three of you where you realize the Panther's not here. He's not in the room. He usually eats with her.
I haven't been here. Did any of you see Panther around, or?
No.
So, Lolly, you've seen him around, but
Okay, good.
just not at this moment. But like you've seen him a couple of times.
I mean, he's here somewhere. I'm gonna go find him.
Okay.
Sure. Takes you probably about 5-10 minutes, but you do end up finding him in the courtyard. But in the court.
Cartyard.
Courtyard. That's
The
like,
movie
sounds like a
named
weird,
Courtyard.
like, noble position. A courtyard.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he seems to just kind of be staring at the dusk, and sort of as the mansion moves through the wastes.
I'm gonna sit down next to him and just stare in the same direction as him without saying anything.
He looks up at you and just keeps staring.
And we're just gonna sit in silence for a bit.
Your vibe check.
This is a dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Okay.
Okay.
You definitely congeal to the veil. The attachment is there. And you know that it's not going to necessarily like strengthen the spell, but it is a more natural sort of emanation from you as a response to your where you are in existence.
Cool.
So go ahead and ask your question.
Well, so my offering, I'm going to take the little feather out that was previously given to me by the Raven Queen. And just to make sure I understand 100%, the Raven Queen is like death. It's more death related, correct?
So she is the goddess of the afterlife, essentially. Well, a portion of the afterlife. She's where ROI is the shepherd that takes people into life. The Raven Queen is the shepherd that helps them through the afterlife. Like, she helps people go where they're supposed to go. They all kind of exist in the Shadowfell, and so she oversees that.
Okay, so
She deals with
then
memory.
I'm going.
That's basically what she deals with is the memory of a person.
Okay. So then I'm gonna take the feather and cut my hand and like squeeze it and drop blood on there. So maybe my offering will maybe be made better. I would like to ask the Raven Queen about our goal to sever the Boon with Kalenth. And I
At this,
want to know.
like as you sort of enact the spell, and you sort of like bled into the feather, set it before you, and you've done your ritual. These sort of long fingers just come from below the feather, as if out of nowhere, in a supreme darkness. And the nailed, they're very large hands as well. They're like the size of, they're like, they go like this, right? No, I'm just kidding. Don't
That's
do
how
it.
I get it.
Don't do it.
Does my hand smell weird?
But it's the palm of the hand is like the size of your head. It's just like it's like an enlarged, and these nails are much longer by the end. It between the nails just picks the feather, and as the feather kind of goes up, the arm extends with it as the frame of the Raven Queen kind of comes from the nothingness, a flowing sort of, as if it was a part of her, like black gown extends.
It's like it. Okay.
It's like it what? Oh.
It's an Over the Moon where the Moon Queen comes out.
I haven't watched it yet. I'm really excited to watch it.
It's real good.
I'm excited. But she does have, she it's this sort of like porcelain white face that is weirdly nondescript. Like you see eyebrows, but just no eyes, right? It's almost as, but it's not as if it's like skin or anything. It's blurred. Like you couldn't, like in a dream when you can't remember something vividly, just perfectly, it's just a blur. And with the feather plucked between her nails, she says, "Ask your question." Time is precious.
What is Kalenth's boon to you? Oh no, I messed it up.
It was just the "to you" part that I thought was funny, like tacked on.
Just in case.
Yeah, like no, it was like, no, I got it. An old mistake. It is one of misplaced trust. And I'd like it back. To find someone new.
An old mistake. It is one of misplaced trust, and you, the Raven Queen, would like it back to find.
She's
someone.
gone. She's as she said the last phrase, her hand goes back down, but it pulls the feather with it.
All right,
But yes, that is what she said. Yes.
I hope that's what you said. It's good talking to you. I go back.
Misplaced trust. It's one she would like back to give to someone new.
Mm-hmm. Oh, to give to someone new.
Yes. Yes.
To give to someone new. Okay. Just go on back now, feeling mighty fine.
After a moment, the casting time on that is what now?
Instantaneous.
Ah, but you did it ritually. You said, right?
No, I can't.
Gotcha.
So
It was something you cast instantaneously.
Oh my god,
You
I
just-
can cast it ritually. Hold please, I totally do it ritually. Yes, maybe.
Okay.
I didn't see the little art because when I looked at the
Nah,
anyways,
don't
now
worry
I'm on
about it.
the-
We're moving on. It's all good.
So 10 minutes.
10 minutes later.
So, Lolly,
Great.
there's a moment where Ark kind of pokes his head out and brings you back inside as Nameless has kind of finished the spell. Bringing it before we get together.
I asked the question and I got an answer. I'll share it to you now. She said, I asked, how do we sever? I forgot the question I asked, but Nameless wouldn't.
What is Kalent's boon?
What is Kalent's
to
boon?
you?
To you. That's the question I asked? Alright. She said it was an old mistake and one of misplaced trust, and she'd like it back till she can give it to someone new. I am not the best at riddles, so I give this to you.
Well,
It doesn't seem much like a riddle to me. I could be wrong. It implies that the boon can be taken, but I don't know if we're much better off in terms of information.
it makes it sound like an object, yeah. If it can
I
be
mean,
taken
they
and
are
given to
objects.
someone else.
Say that again?
I mean, boons are objects. They're objects given to someone by a god. So whatever the Raven Queen gave Kalenth, it's clearly a mistake in her eyes. But it will be a physical item.
Not to be
I didn't-
that
I didn't-
person.
I didn't know that. So that's good information to have. Thank you.
The box?
It's not. Yeah, that makes sense. We don't know it's not that. It's a pretty incredible piece of magic.
I wonder if there's a way to figure out if it was made by the Raven Queen. I always assumed it was made by Kalenth.
It's got his name right in the name there.
It doesn't have a
Oh.
made by.
In my equipment list, I see it's called.
Kalenth's puzzle box.
Kalent's box of puzzles.
Have we, fully explored that box?
Well, no, not really.
Like, maybe there's a thing in there because, Kalenth wants it back, right?
The box is the way for Kalenth to get out of the tower.
Maybe that's because the boon is in the box.
That's
He
very,
needs the boon to get out of the shower.
it's very
Talking's
possible.
hard.
Yvonne was looking at the box. It's possible she might have learned more about it. We haven't had it for a long time.
I haven't really talked to her in a while. Is she alive? I'm just kidding.
Me either.
Yeah, she's alright.
I'm a little worried.
I talk to her every now and then for notes on making this. We were back and forth a bit when I had questions and such. So, do we have instructions? If we get this boon, or do we have instructions on how to return it to her? Or are we just supposed to storm into the between them and be like, "Is this it?
Well,
Do you want it back?"
well, the astral plane will probably be easiest, but I assume it's probably more up to her wanting to come and get it. You know.
So, you don't think the Raven Queen can go into the tower?
That's what I thought as well.
I'm not sure if there are any rules against, say, a god taking the boon back afterwards, I suppose. Maybe for some reason, she's not allowed to reclaim it. Because at least that's what I've heard, is once a boon was given, the god can't take it back. So maybe that literally means there's something stopping them from taking it back. I'm not sure. This is still a fairly new concept. I think figuring out if this box is the boon is the best step we've got right now. So I'm going to ask Yvonne about it. See if she has anything to say.
Same.
I'll race you.
Motorcycle.
Not
In the
inside.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
While that's happening, I would like to go to the library and try to talk to Dewey, or whatever his name is. And,
Louis.
His name's Webster.
Webster?
I believe you mean...
not really... I haven't spoken to them a lot.
I know
asked-
book smart.
And I would
I mean, I think she was going based off Dewey Decimal System, so
Yeah.
she
She
makes
was.
sense.
Yeah.
I believe she
That's
was
what
talking
I
about
was
Huey,
going off
Louie,
of.
and the
Thank
Well,
you.
when I get my 8th kobold, that's what I'm gonna name him.
But I would like to read the books about Raven Queen, specifically looking to see if anything, like there's ever a story about an object that's related to her, or someone in the past being given something by her, blah blah blah. Maybe using my knowledge that Panther maybe has bestowed upon me. Just maybe.
Okay. Heading to the library, and you two heading to the Vaughn. I'll sort of start at the library real quick, just so we can get a roll out of the way. The stories Panther has told you, when it comes to the Raven Queen, her stories are... Tragic isn't the right word, but they are solemn. It's not a... She was not a person who had a lot of good happen to her. But it's also what made her... But in a way, it was also what made her study of what she did very prominent. As a mortal, she studied memory, and she studied the magic of not how to warp or abuse memory, but the truth behind it, the sort of like, that's a way to time travel kind of aspect to it, right? Like that, like through memory, through this, because of the stars, like the same thing that she stood with was those kind of things, right? So that's what Panther would have been able to tell you from her stories, is stuff like that. Like that's what she is. It's not, she's seen as the goddess of death, but it's like she's not really the goddess of death. She's a shepherd of memory. It's someone who, at your last second, is there to remind you of who you are as you move on to the next part of your life, and to tell you who you truly are, like to show you exactly what you are and for you to know it. So even if it's an evil person, that's her neutrality, right? Like her neutrality is this idea that it's like, doesn't matter if you're good or evil, there is some part of you that intrinsically is just a thing. And so she does this. In the library, go ahead and give me a investigation check, because it's looking through books and trying to find it. But I'll give you advantage because you got Webster.
Guidance. Also, I would have done that because I know I'm doing this, right? Okay.
Yeah, I get it.
Just throwing it out there. I didn't have a D4 out, so it might be. But let's just do this little roly-doly. Holy guidance. Okay. Wow, I have everything like that.
There's so
15.
much dialogue to fill the dead space of you having to grab your dice.
Okay, it was a what?
Investigation.
I'm so sorry I missed it. That would be an 18.
Okay. Oh, man. So Webster helps you find a few books on the Raven Queen. It will probably take you the better part of the day to actually, look through this stuff. So you're going to be in here for a while. But it's a nice collection of books, too. It's not like nothing was found. One of them is more of like straight up theology, whereas a bunch of the other ones are like collected editions of sort of religious text. So,
Cool.
talking to Yvonne, the two of you, you find her in the place you would totally expect to find her. You find her in the shops. You find her in the workshop. She seems kind of like she hasn't slept in 3 days, or slept well. As you come in, and her eyes are sort of deep bags under them, and she kind of pulls her goggles up as she's mixing a bunch of. Currently, she's kind of mixing a bunch of ingredients, and you see that she's chopped up and liquid, like she's kind of like made into a liquid base. Some of the mushrooms from the garden, and is messing around with them. They kind of like one of them has like this sort of neon purple glow to it, and another one is like a very like, deep amber. As you approach, wow, hi, both of you. It's good to it's good to see you.
Are you okay?
Yeah. I just I've been working on something. I've been working on a way to utilize this for sort of a retroactive way to sort of boost your metabolism, and it has not been going well. Not entirely, anyway. Too much, too little. It's been a rough few days, but we're getting there. We're very, very close, and this would honestly what the purpose is we're going to get to a place where this will allow you to, in the middle of a dangerous situation, if you were close to dying or something, it would kick it up a notch, and you'd steadily revitalize yourself over time, and obviously the effects would wear off after a little while, and you'd be left where you used to be, but it's sort of a constant regeneration thing. How are you guys?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
Like one eye closes and then the other eye closes. Like it's one of those situations.
Isn't it so weird when people blink like that?
Yeah.
It's really weird, yeah.
The wet squishy.
Yeah, we're kind of strategizing for heading back out into the plague marshes.
But why?
The Calenth thing.
Oh.
It occurs to me, I don't go in much for the god thing. I haven't spent much time learning about that sort of thing.
Sure.
But it's come to our attention that Calenth has a boon from the Raven Queen. And I never knew what that meant, and I didn't really take the time to learn. I was busy learning other stuff,
Yeah, same.
I guess. Apparently that's their items. The boon is an item. I didn't even think about that. But it occurs to us that Calenth has a super powerful magic item that he really wants back, that they really want back, and it's the box that we and Philip at the very least know very little about. The puzzle box.
Yes, the box. Sorry, I just she kind of like she's kind of been propping up other stuff with it. She's kind of like used it as like a semi paperweight / like she's like, yeah, I this.
Yes.
Oh, I had been studying it at once upon a time, and then I stopped. It didn't seem like it was passing on any specific knowledge or deeper meaning. Also, point of clarification. Lolly, what you, and this is not that you said it wrong, but I just want to make sure that all of you understand what Lolly was saying was. This is the connection. It's not that the boon is this thing. this is like a conduit for the connection to have the boon.
Okay.
So
but there is a physical item, but it isn't necessarily interesting.
So it is the box.
We should know that.
Just point of fact. Just point of fact, and I just want to make sure that you guys understood what she said correctly.
That's fair. My main thought is that for whatever reason, this box that I think is neat but never found intensely.
I would agree. It's not intensely interesting past. I mean, it's interesting that you can cast a spell on it and trap people and the like, and it's also a difficult puzzle for sure. It takes a sort of mental caliber to and fortitude to be able to solve it, but I couldn't see anything beyond that.
Yeah. For some reason, Kalenth needs this box back so they can get out of the tower. Somehow, them getting this box equals leaving the tower in imprisonment. Not sure why. It might be something in the box. Because there's still things in there, isn't there? Like, we got some of the stuff out, but getting other stuff out would pretty much be playing roulette with grabbing random stuff from another dimension. From last I'd heard, so we didn't do that. But that could be it, or it could be the box does something we don't know.
Oh, well, I'm happy to hand it over. It didn't seem threatening. I mean, not nearly as threatening as that ring, but yeah, those kind of things are odd. But if it has the connection you say it does, then what would be your next step? I mean,
I don't know. Yeah.
see.
I can't. I don't know how to get from step A to step C. I don't know what B is. The B is box, but I don't know how it works. Clint in a tower, box. Clint out of the tower. B is a mystery. I don't know.
You just said Philip's childhood. This is how we get from A to C. B is box. Like a weird roundabout way for him to be like, he can only think of C if he thinks of B first. Like, he can only think of the letters as it relates to the first letter of the alphabet.
So he's always got to get from A to F because F is Finnish.
Yeah. Anyway.
I don't suppose you'd be able to tell if something was from a god, would you?
Not me. I don't. I'm not gifted in that way. It's a much different. It's as you know. Your sort of magic comes from a different place. She points to you, Liam. She's like, we make stuff. We're techno whiz. You know, whatever. Like, it's just that we don't have that awareness. I wouldn't anyway. I wouldn't know how to. I can tell it's magical. I can tell that there's a deep magic into it. I can also, when I've detected it before, I thought that there was something more, but it doesn't seem like nefarious or anything. It just seems like it just maybe was a residual something else. When you first brought it to me, I remember there being some faint memory-altering magic within it, but it seemed like that was more of like a stored spell used to ward off people from answering incorrectly on the puzzle.
Well, I suppose that's all we're gonna understand about this before we go.
Can you detect if it's got god magic, Philip? You do god magic.
It's possible. I could try. Sure, I'll take a shot at it and see what happens.
What would you like to do?
I'm gonna take that box into the expanse, into the void.
Okay. You open a black hole.
So I open the box.
Yeah.
Alright. I open a black hole, I then open the box, and then I drop the box inside the hole. Yeah. I'm gonna go out into the expanse. And
Liam, are you following him, or are you just sort of letting him go on his own?
Do you need to be alone for this? You usually do the god thing alone. Would company make it weird?
Well, no, ROI is a very gracious host.
I'm gonna stay inside. I don't know about the god thing. It's
No,
weird.
come on, you need to get over this at some point. Come on. Really, they're just like you and me. They just exist on another plane of existence, and they have a lot of power over the things that happen in our day-to-day lives.
All right. I'll come. All right.
Yeah, that made him comfortable.
Sounds a lot like government, and I'm wishy-washy on that sometimes. Liam's not a libertarian, just to clarify.
Oh no, don't worry, she's competent. Alright, we can...
What would you like to do as you're sitting in the box in the expanse?
I'm gonna walk out into the expanse until it starts getting starry out. And I'm gonna reach out for ROI.
Okay. You reaching out in any particular way?
With my hand. No, I'm the kind of kneeling in prayer. The way that I generally kind of give myself to her judgment.
You're putting yourself into that frame of mind, trying to gain that connection. And there is a brief moment where you get just more, you get a light hug and a pat on the shoulder, and then the feeling leaves you.
Does this seem like something that belongs to your sister?
You don't feel anything. Feels like, again, it feels like you had a moment and it's gone. More of a reassurance that she's there, but is not there currently.
No, I guess she had other stuff to do today. Well,
All right.
one other idea I had. I want to try and kind of vibe with the frequency of the magic that makes up this box and kind of flows within it, and compare it and try to just go does this feel like things that I've come across? Does it seem like an entirely different kind of magic from what we've seen? Like, is it similar to the ancient technology? Is it similar to a divine source of magic?
Give me a vibe check.
Yeah. 18.
Sort of sitting with the box for a while and doing some of the other things that you've learned over the past few months, especially the last time you dealt with ancient technology, like the tank, different technology kind of stuff, trying different methods to see how to connect with this thing. After maybe an hour of trying, the closest you ever get to any sort of feeling that's not just directly magical is the moment when you're trying to, you're sort of messing with the box as you do this. You get this at a certain point, you start to pick it up and try to move it around, looking at it at different angles, and there's a moment when it's very brief, but you feel as though there's one side of the face that seems to, it's like the design inside is a sort of a magic map, sort of the counteracting schools of magic placed in some like Venn diagrams in sort of offset circles around each other. Liam, you would also be able to point out that, like, that's actually, eventually those are buttons, right? Like, as you're unlocking it, those are indications eventually in the sequence of unlocking this thing. And that's one of the few times that there's this semblance of a feeling, of like a memory of a feeling of the resonance of when you touch a lodestone, like a mirror stone, and connect with the mirror stones. It feels almost like that for a moment. It's probably the biggest spike that you feel.
Alright, well, unfortunately, doesn't look like we're just going to get the answer very easily.
Alright.
There's only one person I can think to ask, but if we're gonna ask him, we need to go into the plague marshes anyways. So.
I got one thing that feels like a good idea and two things that feel like a bad idea.
Let's hear the last two.
Honestly, just open up the box and start digging around, seeing what I can pull out of it. The other one is just rush into the plague marshes and hope we figure it out as we go. Those are the two main ideas that are standing out to me right now. The thought I have that's probably a good idea is not bring the box with us when we go.
The unfortunate thing is, if we don't take the box, then that might result in us getting all the way there for nothing. Simply having nothing happen.
We don't have a...
We're still dealing with a lot of unknowns.
Yeah, but we can't accidentally let Colette out that way.
That's fair. Might not necessarily need to be on accident. I don't know how much more there is we can do outside of just going. Seeing what's inside is... We can see what's inside. I'm not sure it'll give us answers. I'm not touching that thing. I can't figure it out.
The accident thing you just said. You planning to let Colette out of that tower, or...
I think the reality is likely going to be that if we're going to get Gornal out, that means getting Colette out. It doesn't mean we let Colette run free. and do whatever they want. There's a possibility that maybe what we do is get Gornal out and then push Kalenth back in. But I'm assuming that the same thing they need to get out is what we need to get in.
I mean, there's ways into the tower. I mean, we might just be trapped as well, but Gornal got in without the box.
Yeah.
But you're not wrong.
Wait. We don't know that Gornal got in without the box. Gornal was in the Hills of Madness, where we found the box.
Yeah. We've all been in this box.
We've been in it, but we don't understand everything it does. If we're talking about why it's dangerous to go digging around inside it, it might be one of these other features that we don't know it has. It's the only way I can. It's the only thing I can think of that serves as a link between Gornal and Kalenth. They were both around this box at some point. And if Kalenth needs it to get out, it's likely that Gornal needed it to get in. I don't understand how, but
Yeah.
it
Alright. Makes sense to me.
yeah.
We've had people get trapped inside the box before. We've been in the box before. The box was in other people's possession before ours. Presumably people have tried and some of them successfully have opened it. There's nothing leading me to believe you could accidentally go to the tower through the box, except for Gornal, and that's the hypothesis. We don't have stories of previous owners of the box vanishing into thin air. It's not something we have. So I'm not hugely worried about it, but at the same time, Gornal could be the evidence of that, and it could be as simple as
It could also be that he went there on purpose. The rest of his
Yeah.
brothers wound up dead. It could be that was the only way that he saw to escape.
yeah.
I don't understand much else about this box or how it works. But I think that explains the relation. It just seems like too much of a coincidence otherwise.
Yeah, the issue there being if you go to the tower through the box, you don't bring the box into the tower.
Which I think is why he wants us to bring it there.
Yeah.
I don't know what. The whole thing is just infuriatingly full of us not having answers to fairly basic parts of this equation.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
And they're answers that I don't know how to get. So.
Two of you walk back inside. Sorry. Two of you walk back inside, kind of pondering and questioning. We'll cut back to so Lolly. Did you have anything that you were thinking, or
I was just gonna go back to Panther, see what was up, but it's not really important and doesn't need to be like played out or anything.
he definitely doesn't expand upon anything, but he isn't unwelcoming to the company, even going so far as to kind of like more readily, like, cuddle up kind of a thing. But yeah, no actual discussion. You're sensing something. Nameless. Back to your studying. The rest of you kind of, you're welcome to kind of spend the rest of the night doing whatever. As you're sort of having to spend the rest of your night studying, I can tell you, you find no story specifically of her giving gifts or boons, right? Nothing of that nature. But with an 18, what you do find is a very small passage, and I think it's interesting to note. After everything you've been learning with Panther, there's a passage about her and Mistra, and by extension, ROI, of the reason, a sort of, it's like I don't actually have the poem that I don't have a poem written, but you find it in a poem, and it kind of, it takes you a little bit to decipher it, and Webster kind of helps you, like figuring it out and kind of like laying it into words that like might better express the idea. But when Mistra ascended and essentially gave up being who she was to become the new magic, right, and bind every ley line and bring in the lodestones and all these things, this passage talks about the deep heartbreak of the Raven Queen, and the direct translation for the heartbreak is basically like, Webster breaks down the connotation. It's like a lover's heartbreak, and the responsibility to remember her. And it kind of being this indication that she might be doing what she's doing, meaning, Lady of the Shadow Fell, in some fashion, to remember her. Vague on that.
Remember Mistra or remember her, Raven Queen? Okay.
Mistra. To remember Mistra. And that remember is also a weird translation where it's kind of like, well, if you're reading it directly from this, it means something more like to bring into memory, like, or to bring from memory. Almost like in a physical sense, almost. Is there any other thing that you were hoping to find? Is there something specific? Is there any other specifics that I could potentially tell you found? Yes or no?
I guess based off that information, just two things. Like, do I see it? Do I know? I assume I know the symbols for both of these. Like, if I saw something that was like a daisy, let's say, that's a bad example,
Sure.
but like, I would know that daisy is like Mistra, for example. Like, if I saw something that Clem was wearing, like, I would know that beforehand, right? That's something I would need to learn from this.
Symbols of gods are fairly well known, and even though you haven't had a lot of experience with them pretty much at all, there's like, you could find a quick reference.
Cool. That was I wanted to make sure it wasn't like anything like extra, like
Nah.
there was a hidden thing. Okay, cool.
No,
I'm good.
No. Okay. With that, we're gonna go to our break. We'll be back in just a little bit of time. Check out our cool stuff. All of our cool stuff, and follow us, and all the good things. Thank you. We're going to be back in a short while to give you the rest of this episode of the start of book 2. Look, I know what I said. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Instead, you just suck people dry.
What? That was. It turned into the. What's it gonna be?
It was my Enya dance.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good dance.
More like getting Enya face dance.
Stop! I hate it.
I'm so mad. I tried so hard not to laugh at that. And then it just came.
I win again,
Yeah,
baby!
so
Let's go!
Getting in your DMs.
Yeah.
So welcome back,
Welcome.
everyone.
Yeah, thank you, Jackie.
I'm Jackie, and I'm here to welcome you back. Don't know if you know me. It's been a whole 15 minutes since you saw me last, maybe more. I hope you had a great break. I think Chelsea wanted to ask the DM some questions.
Yes. As it's basically the last moments before rest, right? Like it's getting to be that late hour, and you are all kind of reconvening for the last moment before sleep, kind of by the fire.
Dear DM,
Practicing smiling.
Yes.
do I recall if there was a houseplant, tower plant in the tower?
There's no context there for the viewers.
I'm about to give it because I have to now. I am required by law to explain something that happened pre-stream
Oh,
to
yeah,
the people
before
who
we
are
even
watching.
started streaming this. Yeah.
So once upon a time, they were shown a vision of this tower.
Yeah, Chelsea, we didn't do that on...
No.
Oh,
So
no.
once upon a time, you were shown a vision of this tower, and you were sort of brought there. And in the I rolled during the break because she asked this question during break. In the sort of experience of coming into the tower and moving up the tower to try to find Kalenth, you do recall seeing, indeed, a room full of plants.
Wonderful. Oh, I do actually recall this. There was the room that
As
we
you guys
couldn't go
moved through,
into.
there was a bunch of floors. There's, like, you guys moved up the tower, and for each floor that you moved up, it seemed like you were going higher than the tower was when you originally saw it from the outside. It almost seemed as if it was this never-ending sort of climb. And then you saw Gornal, and then Kalenth was there as well, and then Kalenth saw you, and then you got sucked back. And that was through the Shadowfell, so you guys were like seeing it through another plane. But you do remember seeing plants, yes.
How did your guys' conversation go? Because mine, I have things.
We could use things, honestly.
Okay. Do you want to tell me how your conversation went, though, first?
Fine. No real useful, helpful information. We've no reason to believe that the Boon is related to the box. We don't have a reason not to, but we have no new evidence. We have a theory currently that the box may have within it some way to get into the tower. Because right now we can't really account for how Gornal got from the Hills of Madness into the tower.
Okay. I have 2 ideas. So I'll share you my first. So I could put us in, well, you know how last time we like skipped over all of the marsh? So I could put us all in a box. The box. And I'll put you in my pocket. You can make me invisible for that. And then I'll touch the tree. and then we'll go to the room of plants at the tower, and then we're in the tower. Like, right in it. Or the other option is I could try to remember something that definitely happened in the past, so maybe I could, like, see, how Gornal got into the tower.
How would
Either
wait,
option.
wait? How would you accomplish either of those things? Wait, what? I need the first one. I mean, you do tree magic, so the first one. All right, you can do that. That makes sense, and it seems like a solid idea to try. What do you clarify that second option for me? I have no real idea what you mean.
It's still kind of new. Panther has been teaching me some stuff, and so I learned some stuff. And basically, let me pull out my handy phone to read you exactly. So I don't. It's called Remembrance. The spell is, and it's so that like once a week I can look back into a moment that I know for sure happened, and I will see it as if I was there.
That's a good spell. It might be
Sometimes
really
Panther's
nice.
cool.
Yeah. It might be nice to see how. I mean, there's a lot of things that could happen with that.
I mean, I can only do it
how
once
is it-
a week.
Once a week, yeah. So that's the thing, picking the right one. My first two thoughts are, one, it might be really nice to see how Gornal got to the tower, which you have the power to do. That seems reasonably within your ability. One thing we know for sure happened in the past is that the Raven Queen gave Calentha a boon. What if we watched that happen? Because then we would have an idea what item it was tied to, potentially, and get other information. Could you remember that? Is that possible? Because that
As long as
useful.
I know for sure happened, I assume that she directly gave it to him. It could not have happened that way. He could have possibly found it.
I
Or
don't know.
stolen it.
She definitely gave it to him.
I mean, we can try it. I did think about doing that as well, but
I mean, it depends. So it depends on the goal here. Are we? I mean, if we can. How tough is this magic plant spell that'll get us into the tower, potentially?
well, I only have one 6th level spell prepared, and I only have one 6th level slot. This slot as well as the spell. So
Right.
currently it would not be hard. But then that's it.
Right.
You
I-
don't.
I do worry that once we're in there, I don't know what'll happen. But I would be
I mean-
invisible. You could make us all invisible.
I could. Yeah, I could.
You could
Alright.
a lot easier in this way too. Like in this time too. Yeah.
Yeah. I could make us all invisible twice, and Gornal.
Oh.
Uh,
What if we make Gornal invisible and then we just put him in the box?
Here's the main worry. Yeah, I think that's a good plan. The main worry we have here is that I have here is we get to the tower, we don't have a way out. Presumably, if we're bringing the box to the tower, presumably somehow the box can get you out of the tower. We don't know how or what really, but presumably we would have a way out if we figured that out. So we aren't necessarily trapped in there. Assuming we were magically locked in once we got in. If our goal is to get there, get Gornal, get out, then finding out how Gornal got in there could give us useful information as to potentially how the box works or what sort of effect Kalenth can have if Kalenth magically opened up a portal that they couldn't use to leave but could use to bring Gornal in. That might be useful info as well. If the goal is just get Gornal out, then that's probably the memory we want to see. If our goal is to help the memory bird god, and I'm smoked as I refer to the Raven Queen as the memory bird god. If our goal is to help the god, then we probably want that information more. If while we're there we're going to try and get this boon, then that's the more pertinent information. If our goal is get the dwarf and run, then so what's the plan once we're there?
I mean, I personally would prefer to know the latter. I would like to know the boon given, because I would. I could have just done it. I don't know why I told you guys, but I just figured I should tell you guys.
No, I think it's a strong play, and I mean, even if we aren't going to try and grab the boon, that memory might have useful information in regards to what it does, which could be useful for either trying to get away from or avoiding Kalenth. So it definitely isn't a bad thing to try. I just wasn't sure, like, we don't have a plan because we all have, because we don't have the information, or we don't have a plan once we get there. I'm fine with that option, by the way.
I can get us there.
Yeah.
I guess when I think about it, what would be the best to know? If we go in and we don't know what the boon is, the worst case scenario is we don't figure out what the boon is. We might still be able to figure it out once we're there. If we go in there and we don't understand how to get in and out, we might be stuck there. I suppose I feel like there's a worse possible drawback to not understanding how to get in and out. But
I also don't have to go inside. We did see some plants outside.
that's true. If you can teleport us to plants, we could go anywhere in the marshes.
The world is your oyster.
Well, your oyster in particular.
As long as I've seen it before, yeah.
Just gotta be familiar with the oyster. Well, I've said my 2 cents on it. I think both are useful, so I defer to the parties. I defer to your judgment. I'm just gonna try to be prepared for whatever happens once we're there.
I guess I'm a little confused because what happened over the course of 30 days that you don't really seem to care about if we go in there and rescue Gornal.
Well, no, I mean, I'm going there. I mean, I defer to your judgment on which piece of information is most useful. I'm just going to be ready for it.
So you're fine if we kill Kalenth then, if the boon severs something and kills Kalenth, you're cool with that now?
Well, I don't think the boon severing will kill Kalenth. I don't know what's going to happen to Kalenth. It's not my primary concern. There are things I would like to know from Kalenth if they are going to die, but I don't know what's going to happen because I can't predict what they're going to do once we're there. trust your judgment on it. This is not the part I'm good at.
It's up to me, I guess. Is that what we're deciding? Because
Yeah, I see the merit in both. I think whatever you think is best or whatever you'd rather do. I think the one between Calinth and the Raven Queen's probably it would probably be a more interesting conversation for you to see, but I could be wrong about that. So if you have, I know it's a weird way to think about it, but I'm sure it's an interesting or more interesting memory to look at.
There's more potential information we could get from it, but
yeah. But we can use the info either way, so whatever you feel's best.
I mean, I'm going whether or not we get any of this information. Whatever you can get is just going to help, so I trust you.
Lolly?
I don't really have an opinion on this, and I am trying to stay out of it, but I will support all three of you with whatever decision you guys make.
I'm gonna do this alone. Well, not alone, with Panther, I guess. I'm gonna want some help. So,
Is there any way that we can help with it, or?
I don't know, I've never really done it before.
Well,
I could die. I'm just kidding.
Okay. Well, that's good. Yeah, it's always funny until it happens to you, Liam. Well, I'll be standing by. If there's any way I can help, just let me know.
I don't know why, but I imagine it like that scene from Chilling Adventures of Sabrina where I'm lying down and then like my body like astral projects. It's exactly what I'm imagining. But I go to Panther.
He's out in the courtyard. He's still kind of looking up at the stars.
I need your help.
Gets up, stretches a little bit. How can I help?
I want to try that remembrance thing, but I've never done it before.
Okay. It would provide a experience. It won't be all the way pleasant, but you're strong enough for it. So he kind of leads you in the incantations again. It's still fairly new, so it's kind of a little bit of a rough start. The cast is also, it takes 10 minutes to cast, so it is kind of like an experiential, like you're having to focus and connect with it, and through it, it's sort of as if a churn is growing wider and kind of enveloping you as you continue to focus. And at the sort of apex of the cast, as the words are finally uttered in getting into it, it's almost as if you have to like hold the thing that you want to know as you cast it, and that's kind of part of the concentration of the 10 minutes. And as you do, that whole churning feeling comes to form sort of spectral sphere. It's energy and it's wisp-like, right? Like a will-o-wisp almost, as you're collecting it, and it's warm, but only in so much as it is almost as if it has just a latent heat to it, and it's rapidly sort of deteriorating. That heat is escaping. Kind of the nature of the memory is fleeting, kind of a thing. And as you hold on to it to kind of focus in, you're sucked into it, and not like Jumanji style, but just sort of like you are sucked into this vision.
I went with the one with the Raven Queen and the.
I was about to ask. I was gonna say I was. About to say,
I didn't want you to
which
start talking
one
about the
did you
other one.
wanna
Like,
do?
oh, wait.
No. I was gonna ask first. So you wanted to do the one with the Raven Queen and Colette, specifically the bequeathal of the Boon.
Yeah.
Okay. As you sort of come into this consciousness, there's a certain edge where everything becomes a sort of that wisp from the outside. It's almost as if it's like a barrier. You can't scroll to the left or scroll to the right, but as you walk forward a little bit, the ground around you moves. So it's almost as if you're in like this treadmill, and as you move forward, you realize that you are Kalev. And you don't have any control over your limbs or anything. You're just walking, and it's sorry, I said walking, but it's a run. It's more of it's this run, just running through trees. And you smell fire, and you smell some smoke. And as you're moving through the trees, you kind of like break the tree line. And as you're out of breath looking forward, you're seeing a very familiar coastline. It looks like Sisted. In fact, as you're in this memory, you know it's Sisted. They know it's Sisted. So do you. A giant nautiloid, the ship from the Illithid colony that was resting there in the Hills of Madness, is razing the city. A great fire is breaking out from Sisted. Magic is going left and right. A second nautiloid just appears over the city. You're seeing all of this chaos. And holding on to this sort of six-sided box, you hear a voice from your own voice, basically, call out. Please, if you have had any feeling for us here, if you believe in what we fight for, to protect, help my city, help me. I have found what you asked for, and I will use it for you, I guarantee, but you must help now. And at that, a sort of crack in the sky as you're enveloped in shadow. And that those sort of that pale face with the blur and the long hands comes out of the shadow to look at you and says, "Are you prepared for the responsibility it brings?" He says, "Yes. Yes, everything. Yours. Guaranteed. Everything I am. Just please. I have to protect my family." Very well. It shall be yours. Know this. My box, as she sort of indicates to him, creates endless imagination. Its price you may well end up losing the family you love. It is worth a risk. And you will be mine. And another crack in the sky as the darkness fades. And the box is sort of burning your hand, but not in any way that feels like it's hurting you. It's just burning. It's burning in power. You are now connected to this box. You feel it. Its latitude, its longitude. You are awakened to its presence without having to think about it. It's beating. Not visibly, but it's beating. It's a heart. There's a heart to this. It tethers to yours. This is hers. You reach out. And as forces descend towards Sestead, trying to work with the illithid, or to your mind at the time, knowing that they must have been subjugated, the great walls of Sestead form. You think of a material, you think of protection, a deep protection, sort of archaic, otherworldly protection. You want something that can combat the illithid, a being from another plane, a being from a far-off realm. You want something that can fend that off. And the walls of Sestead are created. And as soon as those walls, you take a second hand with the box, and the box unfolds into this sort of flower. And as you direct the box towards the city of Sestead, in that same material, you see constructed this giant spire at the center of Sestead. And from the spire points this beam that just shoots the nautiloid out of the sky. And as you're holding it, you notice on one of the faces of the flower, there's just a moment. There's a blue glow to a circle within the off-center circles. And in your head, you feel it. There's a deep voice, familiar to you. And it says, "You've done it. We can protect them." And the memory stops. As you're pulled back in, you're feverish, you're shivering. Your entire body, since nobody else, well, you said you would be around, but you weren't watching, right? Like you didn't go out to the courtyard.
I said I'd be standing by in case.
Standing by. I didn't think that meant you went out to the courtyard with her.
Yeah, like I was gonna be.
She's been having a seizure. You wake up to Philip holding your arms down. And your body begins to relax. It's tense. It's sore. But you retain the knowledge you gained. You're thirsty. You're tired.
Are you okay? You back?
Yeah. I could go with some water.
Okay. I think we have some here. I'm just gonna run off to the.
like a dad.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I can make some. Hang on.
Oh.
Panther sort of sits there and you're strong.
I have to be.
Yes.
Thanks for helping me.
As we agreed. You bring back the water. Everybody else kind of sees.
But it's like in a pot or something.
Scrambling in to try to find. Like, apparently he doesn't know that there's cups, so he gets a pot of.
I got as much water as I could.
But he seems to be scrambling in and grabbing something pretty quickly. So the two of you kind of. It's troubling, and so you follow. You join. You've been given a pot of water.
Thank you.
No problem.
I
hope it's
drink
enough.
it. Oh yeah. I like that better. I do that. I relay what I just saw to doing it.
Sure.
So the box is more important than we thought.
More. Not only that, it. Apparently, it connects directly to the mirror stones.
Yeah. Which it's never done for us.
Well, to be fair, we didn't know it could do that.
Yeah.
I felt a twinge when I was messing around with it earlier. I thought it was just because it had, all sorts of magical energy in it. When I got a feeling of abjuration, I thought it was just, I didn't realize it was connected to the mirror stone, but it makes a lot of sense. This is why they were friends.
Yeah.
One extra thing, by the way, Chelsea. When you created the walls and when you created fire, it wasn't imagination. Your imagination brought up, this is what I want. When it was created, it was as if it was a distant memory.
I relay that.
Alright.
Something alien to you, but like that's what it felt like.
I'm even more worried about bringing this box into the tower now.
Yeah.
And it gives us more information that I find intensely fascinating, but it doesn't. They had the box.
I understand why the box can let him out now.
Yeah.
I'm assuming the tower was built in a similar fashion. I doubt that he sat there. I doubt that Kalinth just sat there while they built a tower by hand.
Yeah. Who? If someone else used the box to trap Kalinth, who? Kalinth had the box, but it sounds like Kalinth needed to make a deal in order to let the box do these things.
Well,
If that is the case, if all the Raven Queen needs is the box back, apparently we need to sever that deal somehow, or we could just give the Raven Queen back this box.
it could be that you said that it involved Kalinth giving something up in order to accept the boon, yes. They said they gave themselves over to the Raven Queen.
I mean, not necessarily in those words. They did it to protect their family, and it meant they might have to lose their family.
It could be that perhaps it's not as simple as removing the object, but also giving up their desire or affinity to use or have the object. But I don't know how we even accomplish that.
Yeah. For some reason, I don't think a charm spell will do it.
When they were put in the tower, it was an alternative to them being killed, basically. If you look at it a certain way, the tower was a mercy. They were put there by the Mirrorstone. They were put there by Terragard.
Could be the box wasn't needed. If Kalinth used the box to get Terragard to raise the...
Well, Terragard didn't build the walls, I don't think. But
right. Terragard's the skull. Sorry, out of character.
Terragard is...
Okay.
Terragard basically... From what we know, Terragard basically chose to be a flaming skull and defend, like, the tower there, basically.
Yeah. So if Terragard was able to use the box to contact the stone to raise a tower, can anyone do it? Why did Kalinth need to make the deal? I don't know. We don't know how Kalinth was trapped.
Well,
We could wait a week and I could try again.
I think actually, it might be a little simpler than we're thinking. The box gave Kalinth access to the Raven Queen's ability to use the stones. Yes. I suppose that means the Raven Queen is capable of just using the Mirror Stones without the box. It's a power that she innately has. At least that's what it leads me to believe. It's very likely that the tower was constructed and Kalinth was placed there by the Raven Queen directly. It certainly puts a lot of things in perspective.
Like,
For one, it proves that they weren't lying to me about a lot of the stuff they said back then. They built the walls, and if you felt the feelings they were feeling at the time, it was done out of a desire to protect family. Which makes the loss of that family certainly stand out. I'm inclined to believe that it's also where their falling out with the Raven Queen happened. It all checks out. There's something else I need to make sure is abundantly clear before we move forward. The scene that you saw with the Illithid attacking, I've become increasingly concerned that we might be approaching a situation like that again. And while I was away, I was told a few more things that I think that we may be in a situation where if we don't very quickly learn as much as we can about how they were fought off the first time, we may be incredibly underprepared for when they show up again.
You think anyone in Sestead knows how to use that tower's giant laser beam? Or is that a box-only feature? Because right now, we have a decent amount of information in regards to how they did it. And it seems like god magic, which I don't put much stock in.
When we went to see the Mirrorstone under Sestead, everything with our dealings there certainly made it seem that Daphne and Barlow and the like weren't entirely aware of the extent of how the whole thing works, I suppose.
It's not something we could petition the stone to do if we didn't have the box or Calanth.
I could always ask them, I suppose. But it's... I feel like if they knew what the stone was capable of, they wouldn't have let us go down there and talk to it.
Yeah.
I think is the main thing.
I mean, the easiest, the simple thing to do in regards to fighting off another Illithid attack or something like it would be having Calanth handle that for us. But that also raises the issue of then having nearly all-powerful, potentially very angry, specifically angry at a god, and everyone else who let them stay locked up, and us for not letting them out. All-powerful wizard be loose and free in the world with their all-powers.
I have no doubt in my mind that what Calanth wants more than anything is to get back at the Raven Queen. And possibly using her own power to do it.
I don't understand. Perhaps I'm misunderstanding, which is likely. Why would the Raven Queen show us Calanth to start out with?
Well, a couple things come to mind. The first is that for some reason or another, they either want us to kill Calanth or set them free. Otherwise, if I were her, I would have avoided giving out any information about Calanth at all costs.
And why do we assume that she doesn't want them released?
I wish
We've just
I
always
could
assumed
say.
that.
If what's happening right now is we're heading towards another incident like the one that happened in Sestead all that time ago, the Three Sisters have opted to not directly interfere with things that happen on this plane anymore. However, yeah, as we've seen, as you can tell by my entire set of abilities, they do have desires, and they try to empower people here to see those things through. ROI and Balinor, they may not come down to this plane, but they still spend their time trying to successfully create life forms that can exist here. They are still invested in this plane. They haven't abandoned us. However, they can't lay hands directly on it.
Okay. Cool.
We don't know.
I don't. Okay, thank you.
We don't know that the Raven Queen isn't trying to get us to let Kalent out. That's not something that's made abundantly clear to us.
Unfortunately, yeah. I don't know anybody who has a... Well, I do know one person who serves the Raven Queen, but I don't think they talk to her as directly as... Well, as Setlali does to Dolaraha, or I do to Arawai. So... I'd love to ask her, but I don't know if it's something we can do.
Is it possible that the tower is the Boon? And that she does want Kalenth out? Because let's assume that the box is the only way that the Illithid were defeated, mixed with Kalenth's powers, and let's say there is another attack coming, as you've just said. Is it possible that she knows and she wants us to sever Kalenth's connection with the tower in order to have them help her, us, whoever, defeat whatever's coming?
I'd say the boon is definitely the box.
I had asked when I tried the spell to see the moment that the boon was given.
So then the answer is Setlali's an idiot.
No.
Well, here's the thing.
Because the thing is, he wasn't given the box then. It was the connection with the box.
What it is, when you receive a boon, you're receiving a portion of that god's power. Normally, it's something smaller. In this case, things were so dire, it seems the Raven Queen literally gave Kalenth an enormous amount of her power. Enough to control the Mirror Stones. That's a very, very large boon. I'm not sure. It may not be the box itself, but the box is at least a conduit.
What was the rest of the saying? Sever the boon.
Strip them of the lodestone. Which, hey...
To that defense, though, I didn't ask. I said, how do we defeat Kalenth? I didn't say, should we defeat Kalenth? I just asked a question. I was very high, so possibly, I should have asked a different question. But perhaps that would kill them.
It would certainly weaken them a great deal.
Which lodestone? Is it specifically a connection to the abjuration?
Kalenth had a special connection to the abjuration Mirror Stone.
But they maybe the lodestone doesn't want them to leave, though.
It's hard to say.
No, it's really not. I don't think that the lodestone wants them to leave.
Well, the Mirror Stone that they're on... The Mirror Stones don't seem to have a whole lot of freedom with the stuff that they do. The one by Harrow seemed trapped, didn't seem particularly happy with the situation.
So you don't think, like, a lodestone could keep someone in there if against their will?
Oh, it could. I just don't think that necessarily is because it's what the Mirrorstone wants. It could be because it's what it was commanded to do.
By who?
Most likely by the Raven Queen. I don't have exact answers, and all we can do is speculate, but at least it seems that we're getting a fairly clear image of the sequence of events back then. What she wants to happen now, I'm not sure. But I feel like the longer we wait, the longer we risk dropping into another interplanar war. And if that happens before we're ready, I don't know that we'll have time to make it up. Whatever ends up happening to Kalenth, I think we at least need answers. And I don't see how we get them without going there.
Yeah, that's tough, because we do need answers. So we go, have a way to talk to Kalenth. That isn't, we walk in, Kalenth grabs the box somehow, escapes and murders us. Even if we can prevent the box from being taken, like, Kalenth obviously has information that would be useful, but it'll all be twisted to fit whatever Kalenth's goals are. That makes it tough. And I'm not sure entirely what we're aiming for. Because, hey Kalenth, can you tell us how to use the power you used to stop the Illithid so we can use it to stop them next time? Isn't going to go over well, I don't think. I don't know.
I do know that their intentions aren't to destroy the world or anything.
No one's are.
I do think if they go unchecked, they could be blinded in their rage to cause a sequence of events they may not necessarily mean to cause.
For the plant teleport spell, to bring us along, would we need to be in the box? Or can you bring us along otherwise?
You don't have to be in the box.
Oh. Well, that's a lot more comfortable.
We all just have to go within one round.
Oh.
Sorry, I should read... I just learned this spell.
That's fine. I can't do it at all, so... still got one up on me.
She can still only do it once, but
Yeah, I can do it 0. Like I can't
Yeah,
even...
I
Like, are you
wasn't-
still in
I-
Philip voice? Like Philip's arguing with God?
Yeah, like...
I
I will never in my life
Dude.
get to cast a level 6 spell, so I don't...
you don't know that. Give me time and a lodestone. I'll hook you up.
That's fair. Can you put this eye out, please? From
They
everything
don't
everything I've
have to
learned-
go in your eye. I don't
I don't know. From everything I've seen, losing an eye just results in you getting to do a lot of cool shit. So...
Set Lolly. I know you didn't want to go inside. Would you? I know you're afraid that they're gonna, I don't know, find your family and stuff. They can't do that, though.
As much as I would love to say no, I'm gonna stick to what I said. I'm not gonna leave you guys to go in by yourself, so yeah, I'll go in.
But I'm trying to tell you to not worry.
I'm going to always worry about this, but it's fine. It's fine. I will deal with the consequences if there are any. There might not even be any. I might be worrying for nothing. So, I will go in. I will just figure something out. Maybe I'll just stay out of the room. But I will go with you guys. Yeah, I'll go in.
Are you just so afraid that you're not going to be able to control your anger? I'm just trying to understand.
I don't really want to talk about it.
Okay, well, we're about to go into a place where we all might die, so it might be helpful to know why you don't want to go into the place that we all might die.
I mean, besides the fact that we all might die, which is a pretty good reason in itself. But
Sure.
doesn't seem to be the one here.
I get that, but I definitely feel like this is not important enough to worry about right now. Because we're not going to die. We're going to get out of this, and then we can talk about it afterwards.
Well, then afterwards will be too late. I'd like to know if you're gonna like screw us over when we get inside, and if you do
No.
start to screw us over, why? So like,
Why
if you're
would
gonna
never
be
screw
like,
you
I
guys
can't
over.
control my
Everything I have
anger."
done has been for everyone else. So why would I screw you guys over?
I just don't get
I'm
why
really
you don't want to
sorry.
go in.
I didn't mean to yell.
I don't care that you
Um,
yelled. It's the most emotion I like it. Go ahead, yell at me. I would like you to actually voice an opinion during this conversation because it is a party of 5. So,
I'm not gonna screw you guys over. I will be fine. I will do what is asked of me. If you guys need me to go in there, I will be able to control myself, I promise. And then when we make it out alive, we will go do the next thing, and I will be fine, and I will help everyone out. And then when that's over, I will go and do the next thing. But know that I will never, ever, ever screw any of you over.
I don't think you would intentionally. Perhaps I was brash in my words. But I've also seen you sometimes act before thinking. And I would just like to be prepared in case that happens as to like what might set it off. It's not a bad thing. I've done plenty of bad things.
It won't happen, not in this case.
Fine, don't share. It's whatever. Sorry for trying to ask a question.
I'm giving you an answer. I'm sorry it's not the one you want, but
No, you didn't give me an answer. I asked why you didn't want to go inside.
we already know why I don't. Look, here's the thing. We already had the discussion. Panther told us that we need to compromise. I found a compromise. No, don't kill him, but also don't go inside. Now I'm making another compromise. Don't kill him, but go inside. I'm not going to kill them. I'm giving you my word. I am compromising on everything. And I will not kill them. I don't even have to go in the room. That's the best part. I can just go inside the tower and stay outside. There were stairs, there were doors. That's how we sort of got in the first time. So I promise on my life, on the kids' lives, that I will think before I act. I will not do anything. I don't even have to be a part of it other than moral support. And when everyone is ready to go, I will be rested, I will be ready, and I will go. And I am going to bed now. So good night, and I will see everyone in the morning, and then I leave.
Just to be clear, nobody has to go if they don't want to. That's...
It's a little too late for that, Philip.
The clarity isn't the issue, Philip.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. I'm trying to take into considerations other people's feelings. I have a lot of my own feelings about the whole thing, so it's, I'm trying. I don't understand why I've upset somebody 100%.
I appreciate you trying. I do.
I wasn't trying with you, but you're welcome.
No, but I know that you've been trying. The fact that you're even offering to help with this, I appreciate it a lot.
I have my own goals. So.
Well,
I think maybe we should all head to bed.
yeah.
Meet in the morning.
I just lay back on the couch. Yeah.
It's actually the most comfortable you've slept in weeks.
That is totally fair.
He's got his pillows of plus sleeping again, finally.
Yep.
Yeah.
You could probably travel with those, but...
Yeah.
Fair.
First time I've been around furniture that is both my size and not made out of sticks and rocks. So...
Well, you stayed in beds when you were in...
Yeah, they probably weren't good.
No, they're not good. I just mean like
They
your
were stick
size.
rock beds.
They were stick
all
rock beds, that's
stick
the
rock
point.
beds.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
As you all head to sleep, we are going to call the session here tonight. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you so much. This has been a really fun opening. I'm glad we got here. And next episode will be very exciting because you guys are going to try to go straight somewhere.
Join us next week for the last episode of The Natural Ones.
I mean, it's possible. Bye, everybody.